Does the recently released Poco F4 offer a better package than the baseline Pixel 6? A device that we hailed as one of the best Android phones that you can buy. Well, we've been thinking about this to a little extent, but let's find out together. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. So on paper there is certainly a heavy case for the Poco F4 over the Pixel 6. From display to the internals, you could be forgiven for wondering just why Google is asking for a substantial premium over Xiaomi's budget flagship device. The Poco F4 as well certainly utilises its chassis better courtesy of a larger display and smaller bezels on each side. That's not all though, as it has an excellent 120Hz Full HD Plus flat AMOLED screen with a really minuscule punch hole. There's also HDR10 support and a great 900 nit maximum brightness or 1300 nit peak brightness. Google has opted for larger bezels on their device, which results in a form factor that is close to that of the Poco F4, even despite having a substantially smaller screen at 6.4 inches. It is a flat Full HD Plus AMOLED with a maximum 90Hz refresh rate, and it does have a lower 800 nit maximum brightness or 1100 nit peak brightness. This does put the Pixel 6 at an immediate disadvantage. The quality difference though is not quite as pronounced as you might expect, as Android is tuned specifically on the Pixel to take advantage of its own high refresh rates. That said, there is a certain speed bump when switching between apps or scrolling or using the Poco F4. Software tuning has really helped elevate what is a good 90Hz AMOLED screen on the Pixel 6 though, above many average 120Hz panels, but side by side it's tough to tell which is the better option here. It's also worth noting Google has its first generation in-display fingerprint scanner present on the Pixel 6, but it has been plagued with issues since its launch. The side-mounted fingerprint scanner on the Poco F4 is completely effortless and incredibly reliable by comparison. It's pretty easy to tell which device is being positioned as a premium option when in the hand. There's a reassuring heft to the Pixel 6 that I think you simply do not get from the Poco F4, and the design of the Pixel 6, while controversial, is striking and unique, while the Poco Phone F4 is basically a rebranded Redmi K40S with fewer colour options to boot. If you're looking for a striking smartphone, then you might want to be thinking about which is the better option for you. Realistically, the biggest gulf between the Pixel 6 and the Poco F4 certainly exists in the software stakes, and this is where all of the perceived hardware benefits on Xiaomi's latest budget phone do fall far short of Google's support system and software update cadence. If you value functions and features, then MIUI 13 is stuffed with little extras to take advantage of the impressive internals on offer. A prime example is that of that virtual RAM expansion, and this feature utilises a portion of your device storage to emulate RAM on your device. And because UFS 3.1 storage is fast, you can keep more apps in the background and then load them quickly when reopening. Other neat features on this device also include the sidebar floating toolbox, which lets you remove clutter from your screen with a scrollable list that can be stashed away at any time and accessed when you need it most. Customization from top to bottom is where the Pixel 6 really lacks, as the more automated Material You theming system really tunes almost all facets of your Android smartphone based upon the wallpaper that you've applied. The end result certainly feels much more cohesive but very simplistic compared to what is possible on the Poco F4 and the more in-depth MIUI theming controls. That said, you do gain a lot of benefits courtesy of the Pixel 6's Tensor processor, including things such as on-device live translation, which actually isn't possible on the Poco F4, even despite a similarly powerful CPU. That also expands to other modes such as Magic Eraser for quick object and person removal from photos. You can access these through third-party applications, but it's not baked in like it is on the Pixel. If you didn't know, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 and the Google Tensor chipsets actually compare quite well, but Google's processor has a very slight edge in things such as gaming. This is hard to actually spot in the real world, but might be more noticeable as time progresses and updates do start rolling out. Another thing to majorly consider here is how many updates you'll get with either device. Google will provide 3 full Android updates for the Pixel 6, and Xiaomi has been fairly cagey, although it could get a similar number of OS versions, all things considered. It has yet to be officially confirmed though. Both devices have shipped with Android 12, but with the Pixel, you'll get updated up to and including Android 15, then a further 2 years of monthly security patches will arrive on top of that. Given that Xiaomi has not officially confirmed the overall update length, we'd wager that the Android 13 update might be at least guaranteed, but after that, it's pretty much guesswork. That means if you really value software updates, there's only one way to look. One area in which the Pixel bests the Poco F4 is in the battery capacity stakes, despite what is a fairly modest increase in size. There's also the usage of a less power-hungry 90Hz display to consider, versus a 120Hz, slightly more power-hungry display used on the F4. In reality, both phones can last a day with few issues, and might even push that 2-day barrier if you're less tied to your device screen, but that will come from person to person and use case to use case. The Poco F4 though has vastly superior wired charging speeds, but that is tempered by a lack of wireless options available. However, the 67-watt charge brick supplied is in the retail box when you buy this device. Google advertised 30-watt wired charging with an optional and purchasable accessory, but it is worth noting that 21 watts is actually the maximum with that optional charger, or even the second generation Pixel stand, which you can pick up at additional cost. In terms of camera options out of the box, the Poco F4 does truly wipe the floor with the Pixel 6. That said, the Poco phone offers vastly inferior quality images and video than the Pixel 6 can churn out. Sure, Xiaomi's latest has a bigger sensor than its predecessor. The 50 megapixel Samsung ISOCELL GN1 sensor on the Pixel 6 though is much larger and vastly tuned to a greater extent. Once you move beyond that 64 megapixel main sensor, the Poco F4 really does start to, or at least the quality does start to dip quite substantially. For that reason, if you value photo and video performance alongside the actual software performance, then the Pixel 6 is going to remain a better choice for those wanting great point and shoot results that actually rival the best smartphone camera systems. It is important to note that the Poco F4 does provide a pretty wide suite of video modes, but the Pixel 6 is no slouch here either. You can capture 4K UHD 60fps video on both handsets, with the only modes available such as dual video or cinematic pan really differentiating the options available right at your fingertips. Objectively speaking, the Pixel 6 just comes out on top with video quality here too. Google's post-processing and a combination of OIS and EIS are far superior to what you'll find on the Poco phone. For that reason, no matter your camera aims, Pixel is definitely going to be the best option here. So given there is something of a little price disparity between the Pixel 6 and the Poco phone F4, it's actually hard to deny that Xiaomi's latest budget flagship certainly packs a punch. If you want an affordable but powerful Android phone, it is a good option. When you consider though that the Pixel 6 will likely have a longer lifespan, vastly superior camera, cleaner software and more, then it actually shoehorns itself into the conversation whenever such budget phones are discussed or released. If you value longevity, then it's really a no contest. If you prefer power and performance per dollar, the Poco F4 is a great package and one that certainly makes sense for those on a limited budget. It is impressive though to see such phones competing with what you'd consider an entry-level flagship from Google here too. But that's just some thoughts and some comparisons between these two devices. I'd love to know what you think and which device you would go out and choose. Let me know down in the comment sections below. But until next time, this is Damien with 95 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.